Hello there, my name is Crispy, and welcome to my journey to Brickworld Chicago 2024. For those of you who don't know, Brickworld Chicago is one of the largest LEGO fan conventions in the world, featuring stunning displays, interactive activities, and workshops for all ages. This year, I had the incredible opportunity to display my own MOCs for the first time ever. I showcased 3 of my own displays: the Shire, the Statue of Liberty from Spider-Man No Way Home, and Andy's Room from Toy Story, which seems to be a fan favorite. After a very long 14-hour drive from Connecticut, with my displays carefully packed with a lot of bubble wrap, packing peanuts, and blankets, I finally made it. Join me as I dive into this unforgettable weekend. After spending all day Wednesday packing all my LEGO creations, like I mentioned earlier, I wrapped it in so much bubble wrap, a lot of packing peanuts and blankets, and I've stuffed it all in the trunk of my car. Then around 6:30 p.m., my friend Dawood and I hit the road, embarking on our 14-hour journey from Connecticut to Chicago through the night. After driving through the night and taking turns who was sleeping, we finally arrived in Chicago around 9 a.m. on Thursday. The timing was pretty good because we ended up picking up our friend Bobby from the airport pretty much right when he landed. Shout out Bobby Builds on TikTok and Instagram and now YouTube as well. I was running on about 4 or 5 hours of sleep in the car, Bobby was running on no sleep, and Dawood was running on 1 or 2 hours. So when we made it to the Airbnb, right outside of Chicago, Dawood understandably took some time to sleep, but surprisingly, me and Bobby ended up going straight to the convention. We intended on setting up my builds right away and then maybe coming back early to get some sleep, but we were so distracted by all of the amazing builds there and all the amazing people that we ended up talking to. It took us about 6 hours from being there to actually start setting up my displays. It was really hard for me to stop looking at the displays and go to one of the workshops that I signed up for, but I made the right choice. My first workshop was a movement workshop hosted by Bethany from Tips and Bricks. She is Interactive Bricks on Instagram, and you should definitely go check her out. I learned so much from this workshop, and I never realized just how simple movement and LEGO builds were. Maybe one day I'll be able to incorporate this in a future build. Later that day, I went to a magic show that was also pretty fun. Despite all this, I managed to set up 2 of my 3 displays before the opening ceremony because I did end up getting really tired running on no sleep and not much food or water either. After seeing so many amazing creations being set up and talking to so many great people, meeting so many new friends, and meeting friends for the first time in person, Bobby and I ended the day with the opening ceremony. During the ceremony, they announced that LEGO had donated 400 sets to be given away throughout the weekend. This was incredible. And right as me and Bobby were leaving, I checked my phone and I got a notification that I won a set. I was so excited. I went and I got a friend set. I don't have much to do with this friend set, but I'm still so happy that I ended up winning something. Thank you, Brickworld and LEGO. Finally, Bobby and I headed back to our Airbnb to rest up for the big day ahead of us. Friday kicked off with my first ever Smoothie King experience, which was a great start to the day. We arrived at the convention center around 10 a.m., me, Dawood, and Bobby, and headed straight to the Future of Pad Printing panel, featuring Mayday Figs, Gosslier, Light Custom, and some work from Melnick. They did a great job on showing off how they create their customs, how they have evolved, as well as showing off their new creations. And at the end of it, they were selling some exclusive figures, and I had to buy some. I haven't really been that much into custom LEGO figures up until now, but they did such a great job with their presentation, and seeing these figures in person started something where I bought way too many custom minifigures this weekend than I should have, but they're all great, and it was nice to support some great creators. After I bought these figures and the presentation was over, I finished setting up my Toy Story display and spent some time exploring the convention. There was a lot more stuff set up than when me and Bobby explored the day before, and we had to show everything to our friend Dawood, who didn't make it the first day. After a couple hours of exploring, we still weren't done going through all the aisles. I swear I could spend like 2 or 3 weeks just walking through and seeing everything. But in the afternoon, my good friend Wiley had a presentation on building a brand on social media that we all went to, and it was great. One of the best presentations I've seen this weekend, and you should go check him out for yourself, Wiley Bricks on TikTok and Instagram. His videos are all such high quality, he's a great guy, and you can tell he really puts an effort to his videos. They're very informative and very wholesome as well. Wiley created this amazing MOC right here of the Little Blue Truck children's book, and I think it looks incredible. This was his first ever MOC and just a glimpse into his talent, so make sure to go check him out. At the end of the day, we went back to the Airbnb, watched the first episode of The Boys, Season 4, and then finally called it a night. On Saturday, me, Dawood, and Bobby got to the convention around 9 a.m. This was the first day that the event was open to the public. Until now, it was just open to people who bought the special passes for the full weekend, as well as Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It opened to the public at 10 a.m. and I spent almost the entire day at my table talking to all of you, and this was by far the highlight of my weekend. It meant so much to me talking to all of you, and thank you so much for everyone who stopped by my table and said hi. It really meant the world to me. It seemed like Toy Story was by far the most popular thing that I brought, so I will be sure to be bringing this to future conventions, so if you missed it, don't worry, it'll be back. Something really interesting that I noticed is that so many different generations of people like this mock. So many young kids enjoyed it, because how could a young kid not like Toy Story? A lot of them pointed at Forky in the trash can, because that is the most recent Toy Story movie. That makes sense that they'd be talking about the Toy Story 4 characters. But not only did the little kids resonate with this mock, a lot of parents did too, and they would tell me about how they first took their kids to see Toy Story. Also, I talked to a lot of grandparents who took their kids, who then took their kids, and it's just really interesting to me that Toy Story has spanned across so many different generations and so many different people like this mock. Lego's a pretty similar concept. Lego has spanned so many different generations, and so many different people have their own experiences with Lego, and they're always almost positive, and that's something so great about both Toy Story and Lego, and I hope it continues to stay that way with Lego in the future and upcoming installments of Toy Story, as they are making Toy Story 5. For lunch, my lovely interns, Dawood and Bobby, brought me some food from a Mexican place nearby. In the afternoon, this was the only time where I really left my table besides using the bathroom. I went to the Folds concert. If you don't know, the Folds is the band that sings the Ninjago theme song. It was so cool to see them in person. Although I didn't really grow up watching that much Ninjago, it was still an amazing experience. Apparently the band is good friends with the people that run Brickworld, so this is the second year in a row that they've done this, and I hope to see them again at a future Brickworld. Halfway through the concert, Duck Bricks and a couple of Brickheads came on stage and they started singing their new song, Box of Boys. Box of Boys! Box of Boys! Box of Boys! And I loved it. It was so good. And during the song, they were throwing out signed boxes of boys. If you don't know, boxes of boys are the 501st Battle Pack. And I was lucky enough to catch one, and now it's one of my prized possessions. So thank you, Duck Bricks and a couple of Brickheads. After the concert was over, I went back to my table for the next couple hours until the close to the public at 4 p.m. After it was closed to the public, me and Bobby walked around the aisles a little bit and saw so many more creations. It's crazy how every time I look, I find something new. I still don't think I ever saw everything there was to see in the convention. There's so many great things. I also briefly met Miles Turner. If you don't know, he's a big fan of Lego. Me and Bobby went to White Castle, and it was my first time trying it, and it was really good, but we had to quickly head back to the convention for the garage sale. It started at 8 p.m. and me and Bobby got tickets to get in at 8:15. I heard from so many people that the garage sale is one of the highlights of Brickworld, and they weren't wrong. So the garage sale is where a lot of sellers bring a lot of sets of minifigures for the best prices. You can bargain with anybody and get such good deals. Make sure to stay to the end to see my haul from this Brickworld. After the garage sale was done, me and Bobby went back to our table for a little bit, and soon after, World of Light started. And this was, in my opinion, the best part of the entire weekend. Aside from talking to all of you, of course, this was definitely the coolest. All of the overhead lights in the convention center were shut off, and you were able to get a better look at all of the people's creations who had lights inside of them. It was just such a beautiful experience, and there were so many cool things. It makes me really want to light up my displays for next year. Here is a montage of a lot of the amazing LEGO creations lit up during World of Light. You can see what I mean when I called it very beautiful. Lord of Lights was so incredible and something I'll never forget, and I can't wait to see it again next year, and I really hope to be a part of it. After this long day, we finally went back and watched another episode of The Boys and called it a night yet again. This was a very long day, a lot of standing. I wasn't really sitting at my table when I was talking to you guys because it felt more personable when I was standing, so my feet were definitely starting to hurt after standing for so long. Sunday unfortunately marked the last day of Brickworld Chicago. The convention ended at 3 p.m., followed by the closing ceremony at 4 p.m. After packing my displays into the car, we grabbed food at an Italian place next to the convention center, but we kind of forgot that it was Father's Day, so it took a little while for us to be seated. We then visited a sculpture park and tackled an escape room before heading back to the Airbnb. We then watched 2 more episodes of The Boys before calling it a night, and although Brickworld Chicago says it's in Chicago, it's actually in Schaumburg, Illinois, and that is where our Airbnb was as well. So Monday, we spent the whole day in Chicago, and it was so much fun. We went to the Lincoln Park Zoo, we saw the Bean, even though it was under construction, and it just reopened a couple days ago, which is not the best timing, but we walked downtown. I had deep dish pizza for the first time, it was great, and then we ended the night by going to Wrigley Field for the Cubs game and walked around the pier afterwards. This was an amazing day in Chicago that concluded an amazing weekend at Brickworld Chicago, and I just wanted to thank all of you for this amazing experience. You all made it so special, and thank you yet again to everyone who came up and talked to me. It really meant a lot, and it was so nice for me to meet so many new friends this weekend, and I hope to stay in touch. Tuesday, we got up at 3 a.m., packed the car, dropped Bobby off the airport, and then had another 14-hour drive back to Connecticut, which we arrived around 8 or 9 p.m. Now it's time for me to finally show you my haul from this year's Brickworld. Starting off, I got a lot of Breaking Bad customs. I got Walter White, Heisenberg, and Gus, as well as Jesse, Mike, and Saul, of course. And these are all from Brick Tactical. I got this custom of the Spot from Eclipse Graphics. This custom, Cassie and Andor. Inside this really cool box is an Aura Singh custom. I am not really into this character that much, but it was just too good of a custom to let go by. I purchased the last 2 customs from Mayday Figs, Jedi Master Gosling, Light Customs, and Melnick Edits, and I got this from the panel on Pad Printing. I got a lot of Lego animals that I'm planning on adding a lot of different displays, such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings, so stay tuned to see where I put all these animals in future videos. I just love Lego animals. I want to make a zoo out of them someday. I got these free creature legs. Don't know where I'm going to put them, but they're pretty cool. I got some Gungan warriors for our Naboo display, as well as some generic Wookiees for our Kashyyyk display, with this Kashyyyk trooper here too. I got this shark guy here. I thought I could make him part of Davy Jones's crew, kind of when they're coming out of the water. Let me just find a place to put him first. There we go. I got a bunch of Tusken Raiders to add to our Tatooine display. That Gungan just doesn't want to stand up, does he? We'll just leave him on the ground. I got Andy Serkis from Andor as well. I've never really been that much into customs. I don't know what went over me this weekend. I also got Padme for Tatooine. And Bobby Builds gave me one of his old snow speeders so we can add to our Hoth display. Thanks, Bobby. And here's the box of boys from earlier in the video at the Folds concert when Duck Bricks and a couple of Brickheads were throwing this out into the audience when they were singing Box of Boys. And the favorite thing that I got is I got all of these orcs for Lord of the Rings. Online, these are usually around like $30 each, and I was able to talk them down for around $13 each, so it's still expensive, but a great deal. I'm going to be using them in so many future Lord of the Rings displays, so stay tuned. I also got this new modular building. Well, not new, but new for me. It's usually around $200, and I got it for $130. And there's also this Y-Wing that's usually over $100 that I got for $20. So it was a very successful weekend. A lot of money was spent, but a lot of great deals. I hope this helps. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. What's the best thing that I got? This year's Brickworld Chicago was my first, and it was an unforgettable experience, and I can't wait to come back next year. Thank you yet again to everyone who made it so special.